When people imagine survival at sea, they picture a battle against the water, towering waves, violent storms, and the desperate struggle to stay afloat. But many rescuers and survivors describe something far more unsettling. They describe watching someone simply stop trying. No dramatic final fight. No scream for help. Just a quiet surrender. For decades, maritime psychologists have studied this phenomenon, a moment when the brain, overwhelmed by stress, begins to abandon the fight for survival. And the truth is disturbing. It has very little to do with the ocean, and almost everything to do with the human mind. Most people believe survival belongs to the strongest person, the best swimmer, the toughest body, the most determined personality. History suggests otherwise. Again and again, disasters at sea reveal the same pattern. Physical strength alone does not determine who makes it home. The real battle is psychological. Under extreme stress, the brain shifts into preservation mode. But sometimes, that protective mechanism begins working against us. When hope drops below a critical level, the mind may attempt to reduce suffering by accepting what feels inevitable. Not loudly, not consciously, but through quiet internal thoughts. This is too much. I can't win. It's over. Survivors often speak about the moment they recognized those thoughts, and understood that if they allowed them to take hold, their chances of living would disappear with them. Researchers who study extreme survival environments have identified a pattern that appears with surprising consistency. First comes shock, the brain struggling to process how quickly normal life has vanished. Then denial, the refusal to accept that the situation is real. Panic often follows, burning precious energy as fear overrides clear decision-making. After panic comes emotional exhaustion, where fear gives way to a dangerous mental fatigue. And finally, the most critical stage, passive surrender. This is the point where movement slows, problem-solving fades, and the will to resist begins to dissolve. One of the most unsettling truths in maritime survival is that strong individuals sometimes succumb faster than those with less physical ability. Because survival is not a test of muscle. It is a test of adaptability. The ocean does not ask how strong you are. It asks how long your mind can remain unbroken. Those who survive often share similar psychological behaviors. They narrow their focus to the next small action instead of the overwhelming big picture. They avoid catastrophic thinking. They create mental structure, counting waves, setting simple goals, maintaining routines. Most importantly, they refuse to mentally leave the situation. Many survivors even talk to themselves, using their own voice as an anchor against despair. As long as the mind stays engaged, the survival instinct remains active. Strangely, the moment of greatest psychological danger is not always during chaos. It often arrives afterward. When the storm passes. When the water grows calm. When the horizon is empty. Adrenaline fades, and silence takes its place. That is when the brain may begin suggesting rest, even when rest is the one thing a survivor cannot afford. The sea has humbled explorers, sailors, and experienced professionals for centuries, not because they were weak, but because the ocean exposes every fracture in human psychology. Survival begins long before disaster. It begins with understanding how your own mind might respond when pushed beyond comfort, beyond certainty, beyond hope. Because in many cases, the ocean does not decide who survives. The decision is made quietly within the human mind, long before rescue ever appears. The moment a person stops believing they will return home, the fight is already slipping away. Stay aware. Stay prepared. And above all, never surrender your will to survive. The water continued to lap quietly against the hull of the lifeboat, each gentle ripple a reminder of the vastness surrounding them. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow on their faces, the silent battle waged within their minds intensified. Fear gripped them, its icy fingers curling around their thoughts like an inescapable vice, whispering temptations of surrender. The heartbeat of the lifeboat was a steady drum, yet within, each survivor felt the thunderous chaos of conflicting emotions. Jack clenched his fists, trying to anchor his racing thoughts, but doubt crept in like an insidious fog. "Keep it together," he muttered under his breath, hoping to drown out the haunting voice urging him to give in. He glanced at the others, their expressions a mirror of his own turmoil, painted with shades of anxiety and despair. One by one, they shifted their gazes to the darkness beyond the boat, a void that felt as oppressive as the weight of their despair. Tara, who had been silent for too long, finally broke through the tension, her voice quivering but resolute. "We can't give up," she said, forcing her breath to steady. "We have to focus on what we can control." Her words hung in the air like a fragile lifeline, and Jack held onto them fiercely, unraveling the tangled web of pessimism in his mind. He took a deep breath and nodded, igniting a flicker of determination within them. They were not yet defeated, there was still hope, still strength to be drawn from each other. Jack glanced at Tara, her determination reigniting a spark in him. "What do you suggest?" he asked, his voice steadier. Tara's brow furrowed as she thought, her mind racing through the possibilities. "We need to create a plan. Small steps," she replied, her resolve hardening. "Let's start by rationing our water. We can keep track of our time, mark the hours somehow." The others began to nod, and Jack felt a shift, a collective acknowledgement of pride creeping back into their spirits. The shadows of despair remained, but the flicker of unity forged a sense of purpose, motivating them to withstand the weight of uncertainty together. As they began to discuss their plan, the vastness of the sea seemed to shrink, the oppressive silence transforming into a shared determination. Jack took out a broken pocket watch, a relic from a time before their ordeal, and together they agreed to use it as a makeshift timer. "We'll keep each other accountable," he said, his voice growing stronger. Tara nodded, a small smile breaking through her initial fears. "Every hour, we'll check our water supply and adjust our rations accordingly." The group leaned in closer, their eyes now brightening with a newfound energy, willing the small plan to take shape amidst the darkness. As the sun finally sank beneath the horizon, darkness enveloped them, yet it brought a strange comfort. They could no longer see the vastness of the water, and the shadows cloaked their fears. Tara took a deep breath, glancing at the others with a hopeful glimmer in her eyes. "Let's start our first hour now," she announced, her voice unwavering in the still night. Jack saw them all nodding in unison, and something within him shifted once more. It felt like a pact against despair. They collectively exhaled, letting the tension uncoil slightly, as each of them turned inward to focus on their small task ahead. Counting the minutes became a lifeline, a fragile thread that wove them closer together, resisting the pull of surrender. Jack felt adrenaline surge, guiding him to muster his strength as they embarked on this new journey, unified in their determination to survive the relentless night. The hours trudged on, each second measured under the gentle watch of the pocket watch, which ticked defiantly against the night's silence. With every sound they recorded, Jack's mind began to cling to the purpose they had reignited. "We're stronger together," he reminded them, the faint glimmer of hope reflecting in their eyes as they shared brief smiles. Tara initiated a wave-counting routine, breaking the monotony as they took turns watching the rhythmic rise and fall of water against the boat. "One wave for every hour," she suggested. "Let's keep it simple." Each wave marked not just time, but their collective resolve, uniting them in their fight against despair. There was power in camaraderie, a lifeline amidst the dark ocean. As they engaged in their counting, a gentle swell rocked the lifeboat, serving as a reminder of their vulnerability against the infinite sea. Jack felt the calmness of the water momentarily cradle his fears, but he knew better than to let comfort lull him into complacency. "Stay alert," he whispered, breaking the silence that had settled among them. Tara nodded in agreement, her eyes scanning the horizon, ever watchful. The power of their unity was palpable, giving rise to unspoken agreements to remain vigilant together against the encroaching darkness. As dawn broke, the first hints of sunlight painted the sky with vibrant hues, but Jack felt no warmth. The quiet fear of surrender lingered, always nearby, threatening to seep back into their minds. "We made it through the night," he reminded the group, his voice steady yet worn, "but today is a new fight."